This YCN segment is brought to you by M.J. Harrington and Company, jewelers and designers since 1948.
Welcome back, YCN Sports Talk. Jeremy Stout, Brett Franklin, final segment, and before we get to our Salt Hill Pub picks of the week, talk some NBA Finals. That starts on Thursday night. Raptors, a surprising win, I thought surprising, over the Milwaukee Bucks, but do they have a chance against the Warriors?
No chance. No, none. Zilch, nada. I don't know how else you can say it.
Yeah, I agree.
Listen, I think the Raptors, an impressive win in the Eastern Conference Finals. But let's just face it. I mean, the Kawhi Leonard's great. He's played himself to a monster contract this offseason, which he'll get. But the Warriors just have too much. They have too much firepower. Even without Kevin Durant, this team, and you've made the argument, they could even be better without Kevin Durant, which is a scary thing. And it's kind of unfortunate because, I think when we look back on this Warriors run here, Jeremy, I think we're going to look back, I'll remember at least that the competition has not been great and that, this has been the era of the super stacked teams. How much can you really put into that fact? I think it'll be interesting. But I think the more interesting fact, what does the NBA landscape look like when this show returns after this summer layoff? The free agency period is going to be crazy.
Yeah, and getting into that free agency period, I mean, give the Raptors credit. They went out, made the move to get Kawhi Leonard, knew they only had 1 year guaranteed. Yeah. It looks like it's paid off, even if they don't win the championship. To get to the finals is huge for the Raptors.
Right, and I don't think Kawhi comes back.
Right.
I think he leaves. Where does that put Toronto to next year? And again, will it be worth it? I mean, if you get 6 games out of this series, okay, great. But, I mean, that will be a tough one to swallow, but I don't think Kawhi comes back after this year. But he's had an unbelievable series.
And we talked about it yesterday on your show. I mean, Kawhi could easily be a top 5 player in the league, obviously behind Durant and Steph Curry and Giannis maybe as well. But he's right there because he's a two-way player offensively and defensively. So you obviously have the Warriors. I agree with you. I think the Warriors win this series pretty easily, and that's going to be probably a quick NBA Finals.
It's time for the Salt Hill Pub Picks of the Week. Salt Hill Pub, honest food, perfect pints, live music, now here to serve you in 5 locations.
All right, here we are with our Salt Hill Pub Picks of the Week, and we're talking with Dustin Pedroia's probable retirement. We'd go back and name our greatest Red Sox players of all time, and obviously different eras, different positions, so no particular order, but we'll start here, start at the bottom. It's kind of a smattering of picks. Who do you have, Brett, as one of your top 5?
In no particular order. Just make sure we throw that out there. A lot of great names here. I'll throw Jim Rice in there. I think you look at Jim's numbers, and he was on some pretty big teams. The 1978 season, unbelievable. He was MVP that year at over 400 total bases. He was a big part of that 1986 Red Sox team as well. I know the media and him didn't really get along there for a while, but he's a Hall of Famer as well, which rightfully should. I'll have Jim Rice in my top 5.
All right, one of my 5 is David Ortiz. Obviously, we all know what this man did, both on the field, off the field, as a leader, the stats, the World Series. Clearly, I think one of the top 5 players. Who else do you have in your list?
Yeah, David Ortiz is on there as well, and I think the most clutch hitter in Red Sox history. I mean, how many big hits did he have? ALCS against the Tigers in 2013, into the bullpen. That was huge. I mean, he was a Yankee killer every time, which you got to love as well. He's great, definitely in the top 5.
All right, another one of my picks is Pedro Martinez, kind of from that same era with David Ortiz. Obviously did a little bit before and not as long, but when he went out to pitch, it was one of those times where you just had to watch him pitch because you knew he was going to do something special, and obviously finally coming around and helping win the World Series in 2004. Who else do you have?
Yeah, I'll go with Pedro as well. And again, think about when you look back at that trade, what they got for Pedro was an unbelievable steal. And 1999, 2000, you can make the argument he was one of the most dominant pitchers in baseball history. Sub-2 ERA, 300-plus strikeouts. He was unhittable. Pedro, one of the greats. It was great to see that he won a title here in Boston.
And one of my picks, I might get some flack for this one. I don't really know, but I've got Roger Clemens up there. I know it ended badly, and I know it was a contentious situation, but when you look at his numbers and what he did for the Red Sox, obviously didn't win, so that hurts it a little bit, but the numbers that he put up in some of the seasons that he had were just dominant. So I have Roger Clemens on my list. The top two, or our final two, probably I can see where they're going. Who do you have as one of them?
Yeah, I'll go with Yaz. I mean, you look at every major Red Sox offensive category leaders historically, Yaz is up there, and I mean, he was a household name.
Right.
Played on some big teams as well. Multiple All-Star, Hall of Famer. Played for 20 years in Boston, which is something that accounts for. But Yaz was just unbelievable, and he's definitely got to be up there.
Yeah, I agree with you. I actually have him on the list as well. Clearly just that guy who just is synonymous with the Red Sox. Obviously, we know the number one guy, whether it's a number one or just one of the list, is probably going to be the same type of guy, but Yaz was always there as well.
Yeah, and I think with who we have as number one, I think it could be 1-1A, to be quite honest.
Right. Yeah. So who do you have?
So Ted Williams, Teddy Ball Game. I mean, and it's really interesting because, here we are, over 60 years since he hit over 400, and, he is still the guy. And you think about the years that he missed because he went into the service.
Right.
I mean, he went into the Army at some prime time years. Obviously, 1946 World Series didn't go his way, but I think he's up there no matter what.
Yeah, I agree with you, and it is Ted Williams, and there are our top five in no order because obviously the different eras, the different positions are tough to look at, but there are the 5 picks.
Might hear from Charlestown, New Hampshire with no Carlton Fisk, but we love you, Pudge.
Yeah, we do love you, but there is the list. Thanks to Brett Franklin for coming in. You can catch his show throughout the summer. He doesn't take a break. It's Monday through Friday, 12 to 1, 94 ESPN Radio. It's on 94.3 and 94.5. We'll take the summer off and catch you in the fall. Thanks for watching YCN Sports Talk.